Hello YouTube. Happy Wednesday. Today is May 7th, which means tomorrow would be Victory in Europe Day, May 8th. Let's see, 2025, 80 years since the end of the war this year. That's crazy. That makes me feel old. I remember watching documentaries when I was a kid, stuff on like the History Channel or what was called, used to be called the American Heroes Channel. I don't know if it still is, but they'd have like year specials. It'd be like Pearl Harbor 75 years later, or 70 years from the Battle of the Bulge, stuff like that. But now we're 80 years from the end of the war. Time is fake, I think. that makes you really think about how quickly time moves. Anyway, enough of that. That can get depressing real quick. Let's see. Last week we looked at Magic Factory Corsairs, which I'm still giddy about that. That looks really good. I'm glad I was able to get one. I don't know why I didn't get one sooner, for sure, but I'm glad I have one now. But I just wanted to take this opportunity and make a little video, kind of a housekeeping thing. It was a little bit dark at the beginning of the year, and I just wanted to show you what all I've got over that time. It's not too much, but I am a broke college student after all. So I will just go from the top of the stack here. First of all, this isn't in the order I got it all, but this is Salvino's JR, Buddy Baker's Grey Ghost Oldsmobile, 1980 Daytona 500 winner. This car actually ran the fastest Daytona 500 as far as elapsed race time. And I don't know much about Buddy Baker. That era car, my favorite era is really for when I was a young child. Because mom always had NASCAR on Sundays and Saturdays even. So when I was a smaller child, would have been about 2012, 2014, which would have been the COT cars, but they were running 900, 850 horsepower back then. That's really my favorite era to watch, and I know everybody has their favorite, but that one's really special to me. I'm gonna fix the camera. There we go. But I got this because this was Salvino's first kit in like 2017. It says so on their website. If you go to the About Us section, it says our first kit was Buddy Baker's Grey Ghost. This is kit number BB0 1980D. And this was the first kit Salvino's ever came out with. And it just so happened to be a new tool. They tooled up these Gen 2 big-bodied GM cars in the late 70s and the early 80s before they switched over to the Gen 3 with the 110-inch wheelbase. So this was their first kit. You could see that Oldsmobile body. And this has the real metal chrome. It's cold. But this is the first kit Salvino's got, so I just picked it up at the hobby shop. He had like 2 or 3 of them still. This kit is a little difficult to find on the internet. It's getting kind of pricey, but a lot of things are getting kind of pricey. So I got this one in the stash. You can see that chassis, that Holman Moody chassis. Up until the COT, really, from about 1963 up until 2007 or 8. See, 2007 was when they was the split year. 2008 was the first full year of COT cars, which stands for Car Tomorrow if you don't know NASCAR. But from about 1963 to 2008, the chassis were based on a 1963 Galaxy that Holman Moody built. And of course there were differences in the 90s and the early 2000s, but they all shared the same basic tube layout. So when you hear someone say, "Oh, when I was a kid they were stock cars," they haven't been stock since about 1963. Just saying. Anyway, what else? You remember that Hudson I fudged up the body? Well, Mobius, I asked and they sent me another body. It was like $5. So I'll be able to finish that kit. It's also got the underpan. So I've got that for whenever I want to tackle that kit. Hudson Hornet body. I think a 1953 Hudson Hornet. Save that. What else? This I also got at the hobby shop. Looks like I'm gonna have to bring the camera back because it is fully zoomed out. Let me bring it back. Here we go. And this has been in that hobby shop up on a pegboard near the ceiling. It's sitting on some pegs for probably about as long as I've been going there, which has been probably 15 years. I never paid no attention to it. The last time I went, I finally bought it. And I thought, you can see, let me zoom in, you can see the sticker. I couldn't read it from the floor. It looks like it says $80.50. It is $30.50. And if I had known that, I would have bought this thing years ago. This is Revell 1:72 scale P3 Orion. This is a rebox of a Hasegawa kit from the 70s. But that's really the only big scale P3 that's out there right now. And it's expensive. On eBay it's around $100 probably. So this was a heck of a deal. This is from 2006. Let me lift the lid on it. And that thing is big. Let's see, I got a ruler. And let's see. There's 12 inches and we still got about 4 inches left. So it's about 16 inches long. Reeboks Hasegawa. Older style Revell instructions. Black and white. But here's the coolest part, in my opinion. A massive decal sheet. And it is about 12 inches long. Just a little over. It's got markings for US Navy, German Navy, which is getting rid of theirs this year. I think the Netherlands, yeah, Royal Netherlands Navy. Which the The German ones were actually the Dutch ones that they bought. And they are fixing to get rid of them this year for P-8 Poseidons, which is based on the 737. The Navy has about 9 of these left, but they're all in test squadrons. None of them are really in the main fleet. They've all been replaced by P-8 Poseidons. And I've really liked this plane. It carries torpedoes, which I think is still cool. Kind of that torpedo bomber concept. And me and Carol are actually, we're going to do this one together. Just sort of one big summer project we can do. Hopefully have it done by the time school starts next year, next fall. It's not a very difficult kit. There's not very many parts. That is just big. I think we've decided we're going to do the German one, being that they're getting rid of them this year, and it's a scheme on the box, which I really like, just that plain gray scheme. But yeah, that, if I had known this thing was $30, I would have bought it five years ago. Let's see, this is on a lot of people's list, I'm sure. This is a pretty well-known kit. Monogram 1/72 scale space shuttle, and they've reboxed this with the tanks and everything else, and then different shuttles names. I think they did this. Revell did this a couple of years ago for the 40th anniversary of the first flight in 1981. But I found this at an antique store here in town, up on the old business district, which actually is coming back to life. It's pretty nice now, which is good. I always hated seeing those old buildings empty. Anyway, I found this at an antique store, and I've always wanted the Challenger boxing. I think this is the second boxing. Challenger did a lot of things before it broke apart in 1986. Which, funnily enough, the picture on the box is actually Columbia. It's not Challenger. You can tell because right here under the door, it's black. Columbia had black up until about the first kink in the wing. Challenger didn't. So that's mainly the big thing. This is actually Columbia on the box, but this has decals for Challenger. How much did I pay for this? $55 plus tax for the governor. Which is a pretty good deal for this kit, actually. Box is kind of worse for wear, but everything's there. I went through it, put the small parts in a bag. This thing's huge. Let me see if I can find the decals in here. Okay, sorry about that. Not enough room. I knocked the lamp off. That's a big box. As I was saying, the space shuttle was just winding down when I was a small boy, and even still today, people don't know that the space shuttle has been retired for over a decade. Anytime you mention NASA, they're like, oh yeah, I saw the space shuttle go up on TV or something like that. Space shuttle, its last flight was in 2011. And it was so ubiquitous, it really brought science into the home. In a way that Apollo never could. I mean, Apollo was kind of a Halo project. a passion project for the government. But Space Shuttle was really advanced science, probably a lot further than Apollo ever could have. And it's become ubiquitous with NASA. You think NASA, and you probably think of the Space Shuttle. And if it weren't for the Space Shuttle, SpaceX probably wouldn't exist. The Artemis program definitely wouldn't exist because it uses Space Shuttle hardware, so that goes without saying. And Challenger probably is the most well-known space shuttle. I mean, even you talk to people with just the general knowledge, and they say, oh yeah, when Challenger blew up, I remember where I was. And probably because of the teacher in space program is why Challenger is so iconic. That image of the main body of the orbiter broken up and the two solid rocket boosters still firing. It's probably one of the main images of the 80s, right next to the Berlin Wall coming down. When you think of the 1980s, you think of Challenger, Ronald Reagan, Thatcher, and the Falklands War and the Berlin Wall. At least that's what I think of as far as from an American cultural perspective. Challenger actually was never supposed to go to space. Enterprise was the first orbiter, which is the one they did the APT test, the flight test and glide test off the back of the 747. It was actually supposed to be refitted to go to space, but they found that if they used this ground test rig, which was Challenger, it would have been cheaper. So that's why Challenger got to go, and Enterprise never went to space. It's actually on the back of the Intrepid aircraft carrier in New York City right now. But this is the second boxing of this kit, and it has decals for Enterprise, Columbia, Challenger, Discovery, and Atlantis. And those decals they probably will have to be replaced. They're a little bit worse for wear. But this kit is not hard to find, it's just so expensive. And if you find it online, it's huge and it's so expensive to get it shipped. So to find it in my own town was I really had to snap it up. And the funniest thing happened. Literally the day after I got that kit from the antique store, I came across these. This is our local regional paper. And Southern Illinoisan from January 29, 1986, when Challenger broke apart. This is the image. Of course, everyone knows. I literally the day after I came across this, and not to be outdone, February 2nd, 2003, when Columbia broke apart coming down over Texas. So I have both shuttle disaster papers from our local region, literally in the same week that I got the big space shuttle kit, which was the one I wanted, the Challenger one. So that was an interesting week, like the end of February or something. It was really a space-oriented week. Now, yesterday, Tuesday, was the 2-year anniversary of me being on YouTube. And if you remember, this all started back when Matthew Inman, model car videos, needed a 16th scale Model A body. He had bought a kit and the one that was in it had been crushed. And I had a sedan delivery body, 16th scale. And I sent it to him. And he sent me back the Hudson Hornet that I need to finish. I feel bad not finishing it because he sent it to me. But I digress. I got a body for it now. That's why I bought another body. But it's really because of him that this channel even got anywhere. I mean, he made a video and whatnot. And a lot of people from this channel probably came from over there. So last year we did a giveaway. I think we gave away like 4 kits, and it was really successful. This year I wanted to play a little trick on my friend Matthew. And don't no one go tag him either. I'm not even going to tag him in the description. It's just going to show up. I got this kit at the IPMS Gateway show in September. I don't think I paid for this kit, so that $10 doesn't matter. I think I won this in the raffle. Probably it was still... No, it wouldn't have been sealed. It's definitely taped up, though. This is Monogram A26 Invader. This is like the 2nd or 3rd boxing from the mid-90s. But Matthew, of course, his channel's model car videos, so he builds model cars, if you couldn't tell. But he's a monogram guy. He likes the monogram classic cars, the big Lincolns and Rolls Royces and stuff like that from the 30s. This is still in the bag, all complete. So no one go tag him. I'm gonna send this over to him in Georgia, and I'm gonna leave a note, and it's gonna say, I want you to build this airplane, but you build it however you want. If you want to paint it candy apple red, if you want to use the radials in one of your pulling tractors, be my guest. I just want you to do something with this, just as a little thank you for what he'd done. Probably without him, I wouldn't have 550 subscribers, which in YouTube world is not a lot, but it's like, really, 500 people want to listen to me run my mouth? So I'm gonna send this over to him, and I hope he'll get a kick out of it, I'm sure. But yeah, I just want to thank you all for watching. I want to do a little house cleaning and show you what I've been up to. As far as model work, it's mainly been the Constitution. It's a long time span project, but it's good because you can get to a certain point and you can stop, set it aside, and pull something out of the stash and work on it, and the Constitution won't mind. It'll just wait. So it's really good in that affair. It's been keeping me busy. I haven't been latent as far as building models. So I think that's everything. Big P3. Let's see. Big spaceship. And of course, the cars. I think everything else I've already shown on the videos before. So that's all the new stuff I've been getting. Of course, the Corsairs. I'm gonna get a box tonight after work and send that Invader over to Georgia, and he'll get a kick out of that, I'm sure. if I had a different box, like a car box, I'd put it in there, but I don't. So thank you for watching. Hope you have a good week. I'm gonna finish up the Hornet this week. I'm actually gonna go down to Paducah, Kentucky tomorrow and see what they have down there. They've got quite a few hobby shops and train stores and stuff, so we're gonna go down there and spend a day over there. So thank you all for watching. Don't go tagging Matthew now. I want this to be a surprise. Thanks for sticking with me for 2 years. Hopefully we get many more out of this. What is essentially just a video notebook. But yeah, thanks. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your comments. I like reading the comments. Got about 10 comments on last week's video, so that was pretty good. We usually go about 6 or 7, so yeah, that was good. So I'll get off of here. Let you get back to your week. Have a good week. Hopefully I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.